I saw this in YouTube, and this manifestation technique has been used for quite a while. And it was quite successful, and apparently appears for Helene. Let's hear this.
Just respond to your words. It responds to your energy. And nothing cranks up your energy like genuine, full-bodied emotion. It's like sending your affirmations first class, priority mailed to the universe, instead of stuffing them in a bottle and hoping they wash up on the shore of success. But here's where Helene's technique gets really interesting. She didn't just focus on the obvious emotions like excitement and joy. She tapped into gratitude, deep, heartfelt appreciation for a win that hadn't happened yet. It's like thanking someone for a gift before they've even bought it.
What she's saying is that it's not just only words, voices that we speak out, but we have to feel it in every being. And we feel it as though we have got it. So in most of my videos, I would encourage my viewers to not only hear the voice of the thoughts, but also to enter the breath of the thoughts. So for Helene, it would be to feel the emotions. For my case, it would be different. That's right. Not only would I hear the thoughts and voice it out, but I would enter into the breath of the thought, which I mean differently. It's a kind of resonance for me. I enter into a place in between thoughts. It's not here at all. It is a place in between thoughts where I observe thoughts like as though they were just like free-flowing. And that's the place where I am is, and that's the power of our existence.
Didn't just do this willy-nilly whenever she felt like buying a lottery ticket. Oh no, she made this her daily bread and butter. We're talking every single day, rain or shine, mood swings and all. Why? Because Helene understood that reprogramming your subconscious isn't a one-and-done deal. It's like going to the gym for your mind. You've got to put in the reps to see the results.
We have a subconscious, they say, and our thoughts keep coming in from the subconscious. I call that coming in from the karma. But for many people, they will just simply say it comes from the subconscious. So we want to reprogram the subconscious because the thoughts are coming in all the time. And if it's a negative thought, and it's a negative world that we live in. So we want to reprogram it to make it positive. But I don't do that thing. Yeah, my methodology is different from Lily. I respect Lily. My methodology is simply to go into a resonance, to go into a place between thoughts. In other words, I'm outside thoughts altogether. Now let's imagine it this way. You see, there is the one light. And this one light not only shines the world, but it also shines the me. So in other words, when I open my eyes and see, I'm seeing the world, that's true, shined by the one light. But I'm also seeing myself, shine by the one light. In other words, myself is also a thought. Because I realize that my world and myself is a thought, there is no use for me to reprogram. What I need to do is to enter a place outside thoughts altogether. I call it the hole between thoughts. That's right. I enter into the hole between thoughts, and there I reprogram the thoughts altogether. Not only just the thoughts of the world, but the thought of the observer, me, because I am also the thought. It's kind of interesting, but you have to follow my videos to understand what I'm trying to do.
I can hear some of you groaning. Every day. Ain't nobody got time for that. But here's the thing. Helene didn't spend hours chanting affirmations. She integrated it into her daily life like a boss. Brushing your teeth. Boo, affirmation time. Stuck in traffic. Affirmation central. Waiting for your coffee to brew. You guessed it, affirmation party.
If you want to reprogram your thoughts, you really have to be serious. That's true. You can't just simply do it as you like it. Eileen did the right thing. She reaffirmed. She keep on speaking the same words. That's right. Day in and day out, in almost every occasion. You can make it part of your life. Then it's just not a thought. It must be yourself as well. So Eileen did the right thing. But for myself, I have another way of thinking. And what is it? You see, I realize that if I reprogram my thoughts, it's of no purpose to me. Why? Because the observer himself is a thought. So as a result of which, actually the world and the thoughts conspire. That's right, conspire to bring about events in my life according to the karma. So to me, the karmic effect is very strong, and it actually controls our event. Even if things are going on very well in my life, it's all part of the karmic event. I'm actually repaying back my karma. That's right. It's not just in this life, but in the life previous to this life. And why is it happening? Because of thoughts, the world, and myself, being a thought, both conspire to bring about the event. So for me, I don't go about in this way to reprogram. Instead, I enter the hole in between the two thoughts. What are the two thoughts? The world is a thought, myself is also a thought. I enter into a hole in between the two thoughts. There is the presence everywhere. It's not that there's a me, but rather the intensity of the presence is overwhelming. The whole weight of the universe falls on me, and somehow space-time itself warps around me. In other words, I lived in a new dream. Let me repeat again, because I think it's not an easy thing to understand. You see, most of us think that we, the I that's here, is actually reprogramming the thoughts. But what we forget is that this I, which is your thinking is reprogramming the thought, is actually a thought itself. So in other words, this observer, or this I, this ego, is of no value because it has got no independent action. It's also being governed by the karma. So when we think that we are reprogramming the world, actually it's not we who is programming the world. The person himself is already being programmed to reprogram the world. But so what's the effect of it? The effect is you are in an illusion. That's right. So what I do is altogether a different thing. I go into the hole which is in between the two thoughts. In other words, the hole which is in between the world I live in and the world which I conceive as myself. This is where space-time completely becomes timeless. Everything warps itself around a singularity. And that singularity is centralized in my view. And that's what I meant when I said that everything warps around me. But when I said the word me, what I meant is the first person view. Not a conception in my mind. So it's very hard to comprehend what I'm trying to say, but you have to follow my videos.
Helene took it even further. She believed in living as if you've already won. And I'm not talking about maxing out your credit cards on a shopping spree. I'm talking about the little things that make winning real in your mind. Here's a Helene-inspired challenge for you. Go buy a bottle of champagne. Not the cheap stuff. I'm talking the good stuff you buy to celebrate a big win. Now put it in your fridge. Every time you open that fridge, you'll see that bottle, and it'll remind you that you're a winner waiting to pop the cork. It's like leaving a breadcrumb trail for the universe to find you. But here's where Helene's technique gets really wild. She didn't just believe in her wins, she expected them. It wasn't a question of if, but when. She planned what she'd do with her winnings, down to the smallest detail. Want to take it to the next level? Start researching charities you'll donate to when you win. Look up exotic vacation spots you'll visit. Heck, Start designing your dream home.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Helene's method of manifestation don't work. No, I'm not saying that. You set a new pattern for your thoughts. That's right. So in other words, you set a new karma for yourself. You visualize a new world. You visualize your own dream home. And you make it as real as possible. That's right. You shouldn't have any doubt about it. Of course, you should do all that. And so this pattern that is in your mind will definitely come true. The reason is because you see it coming true. So when the karma takes effect, you see it happening in your life. I have little doubts about that. But what the visualizer doesn't know, I need to tell you now. When you visualize a thought pattern, you add a new thought pattern. So you haven't solved your old thought pattern, right? You just simply add a new thought pattern. Sounds good? No, isn't it? The old thought pattern will betray you. And that's the first problem. But there's a second problem. The second problem is that whatever thoughts that you conceive, it is a duality. So if you say that I'm winning, do you know what is happening? There's the other side of you which is losing. Gosh, that's right. You're not aware of it, but it is a duality. Every time you make a step forward, do you realize that you have to step backward to push yourself forward? That's what it is when you reprogram using thoughts. You are creating a duality and a new pattern in this world. But the problem is that a force will be coming against you. A force that is anti to whatever you are planning for. You will get what you want, but you will also get what you don't expect at all in the journey of visualization. Happening is that most of the visualizers, most of the gurus today, they are kind of what you call book readers. They read the quantum physics and they understand it in their mind, and they thought that they could use it for a life. So it's a kind of a new religion, I must say. For me, it isn't really so. I was brought into this presence without my deliberate action. My father passed away, and somehow a tremendous grief took place in my life in the shadow of death. And an angel came to me and told me the secret. He told me that I have to enter a place between yin and yang. Enter a place between life and death. When I first heard that, I couldn't quite comprehend what it's all about. But the angel gave me a specific method that I can practice obviously. He told me you begin by observing your thoughts. And I did that. And I did that for 10 years. Believing in what the angel said, but having no result. But on the 10th year, something awesome took place. When I observe my thoughts, which is my karma, remember that. When I observe myself, which is my karma, it turned bright. In other words, I enter into a hole, and I found the intensity of the presence at that moment warps everything that my life is. I lived in a new dream.
Now I know what some of you skeptics are thinking. Isn't this setting myself up for disappointment? Helene would say, absolutely not. Because even if that specific lottery ticket doesn't hit, You're training your mind to expect abundance. You're rewiring your brain to spot opportunities, to take inspired action, to be in alignment with wealth and success.
Questions arise. What if you didn't get that lottery ticket? That's right. I mean, you have been putting on the word every morning that I'm a winner. But what if tomorrow you're still not a winner? You think it's easy? Do you think it's easy on you? You find a rationalization going on in your mind. Not everybody can take it, of course. You begin to question yourself. Not everybody can take it, of course. So that is part of the karma. For Helene, she had the right karma. And so she was able to continue with it. Not everybody can. So what I'm just trying to say is that there is an old karma that is hitting hard on the person himself. And while we set a new pattern for our life, but we must realize there is also the opposite side to the winning, called losing. How are we going to take it? Inasmuch as we put a force to win, there is an equal and opposite force to the losing. It's a law of the universe. So, my good friends, to me, it is better to enter the presence, to try your best, to realize your own true self, the presence. Because with the presence, you have reached the singularity, where the whole universe begins. Yes. With the presence, you will see a dark hole. That's why I call it a hole. It's not going to be easy. That's right. Because when you observe your own thought, and you observe yourself observing your own thought, you will always be thwarted and distracted. Because the entry into the dark hole creates a question in your mind, who am I? And before you could even enter the dark hole, you begin to question, do I exist? That's the terrible part which I had to face. I suddenly entered into a very dark place. And I was looking for myself. And I couldn't find myself. Realizing that I'm not around at all, my fear terrified me to a very, very high degree. Friends, all your life, everything you do, you know that you are doing it. You're around. You know what I mean? Yes. So what if one day when you do something, and suddenly you realize who is doing it? You can't remember your name, and you don't even know who is this that is doing it. Will it terrify you? And that's what happened to me. It was so terrifying in that dark place. I felt a dark presence there in that dark place. And the dark presence simply walked in tandem with me. So it seems like the dark presence is me. But unfortunately, as I looked at my body, I couldn't find me. As I look at my feet, there's no feet. And as I look at my name, there isn't a name. Gosh, not even a single idea of who am I, and yet there is this walking in the dark place. Will it terrify you? And who is this doing it? Who is this walking? Will it terrify you? How come I've lost myself? How come I couldn't remember this that I know of all these years? Oh, you can't imagine how I felt in that dark place. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, the dark presence, as though knowing myself, as though knowing me, as though knowing my fear, told me, if you're terrified, just remember your name. You go back home to the place that you are familiar with. Wow. And when I heard the voice, I felt it was me talking to me. But who is this me? Where is me? I shouted and screamed. You don't know how it feels like when suddenly you enter a dark place and you look for yourself and there isn't a me at all. There's someone carrying the plate, for example, but you don't know who that someone is carrying the plate. It's supposed to be me, but I don't remember that someone who's carrying the plate. The dark presence is there, but who is this who is carrying the plate? Have you ever felt that way before? That's how I felt. It was very terrifying indeed. And out of nowhere, the dark presence began to talk, began to voice himself. And he said this to me, like as though I'm another person. But the truth is that actually, I'm talking to myself. And you wonder for the first time, where is my existence? I was so terrified, and then the voice came. A very comforting voice came and said this to me: if you are terrified, you can go back to the world in which you are used to. Simply use your name. Then I was so terrified, so immediately I wanted to remember my name, but I couldn't remember my name in that dark place where I'm in. I screamed and screamed for the name. Then finally the name came and it says David. I saw a light coming through the garden. And I remembered another name, Q, and then finally I was back home. So what I've just related to you was the first encounter that I had with the whole. It was a darkness that I couldn't tolerate. No, I couldn't. Because the question, who am I, is a very terrifying question. When you face the truth that you don't really exist, that everything that you have imagined, David Chiu, is just an imagination of your own mind. When you face the truth, the idea of a winner or a loser doesn't make a difference anymore, because who am I? A lot of people run away from this truth. I'm asking you to follow the journey which I take. Follow my videos. Subscribe to my videos. As I keep on creating videos, it will give you more and more ideas of what happened to me and how I journeyed through. Today I'm a very, very happy man. Yes, because once you touch present, you touch yourself. Imagine you're touching your own child. Imagine you're with yourself all the time. You have a tremendous delight in you. And it doesn't matter what house you are having. It doesn't matter what lottery you have won or lost. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Why? Because I have found me. When you came into this world for the first time, how do you feel? You don't even know who you are, isn't that right? But at that moment, were you unsatisfied with yourself? No. But when you get older, you learn about yourself. The self which you imagine yourself to be. And you became dissatisfied. You wanted this and you wanted that. You want to be a winner. You don't want to be a loser. But the fact is that whatever you gain in this world, you soon have to return it, right? So what is left in that journey is your presence. A presence which you were happy with when you were a baby. although you don't even know yourself. I urge you to get back to that presence. That's right. I touch my presence and discover perennial delight. There isn't anything I need today. But of course, I understand that you want to have something in this world. You want to get what you want. The reason why you want to get something is because you're never happy with yourself in the very first place. Isn't that right? If you want a dream home, a big house, it's because you're not happy with yourself in the first place. Isn't that right? Think very carefully that this reprogramming of your mind to achieve what you want may not really be worth it after all. Because that self-denial, that unhappiness with yourself in the very first place is suicidal, isn't that right? You're denying the very own presence, isn't that right? That's right. You see, when a man tells me that I am believing in a God that can save me, now I will not speak against what he says, only that I felt sad that he's not happy with himself. That's what I'm trying to say. But to find the presence, which is I am, it is not easy. Because you have to enter a place in between two thoughts. Not only the words are a thought, but yourself is also a thought. You are constructing yourself with a thought. And then when you enter a hole in between, you are terrified, as I was terrified. And it's not easy. Not easy to, for the first time, to realize that there isn't a me that I imagine myself. So the dark presence have to tell me, if you want to return to the place you're familiar with, you can. Just remember the name that you are used to. It's simple. See, in other words, the name David Chiu, which I know, which create the environment of what you're seeing today, creates an illusion for me, isn't that right? But yet, if I throw away that David Chiu, do you think I can face it? Is it easy to do that? No, it's not easy. You got used to an identity of yourself since your childhood days. Just to say that you're not that person that you think you are, you think you can be happy with, you think you can tolerate it? Gosh, it took many years. You see, the first time when I encountered with my darkness in me, I couldn't understand, and I'm totally terrified. And it took another many years for me to realize that I'm always with the dark presence. This David Chiu that I know of is just the outer me, right? But the dark presence walks with me every moment. And this dark presence is a true me, right? And whatever I'm creating for myself to live, it is not there. But the dark presence is always with me. And I have to make it very clear. I use the word dark presence because that's my experience. It was very dark. But some of you may be thinking dark presence means devil, right? I just want to say this to you. You see, you look at the light that is around you. They're all reflected light. That means the light bounces on it. And when it returns to you, you see it brighter. But you look at space, do you notice that it's all dark? Because true light is dark. You need to be smart, you know. True light is dark. You can't see light. What you're seeing is reflected light. You're not seeing the true light. The true light is never seeable. True light is dark. And creation came from that darkness. So I have to address this here because I know some of you, when you hear the word darkness, oh gosh, you think it is devil. And I remember what Jesus said Jesus said something very interesting. He said, my Father and I is one. He said that you can leave me alone. That's right. All of you can leave me alone, but my Father is always with me. I'm never alone. Awesome, right? What Jesus said. Jesus realized the truth. That's right. He realized the I am within himself. And that's why he could say, I am is the way. I am is the truth. I am is the life. He didn't mean himself when he said those words. What he's saying is that he's asking you and I to discover the present, the I am. And when you discover it, yes, indeed, your Father and yourself is one. You'll be very happy because my Father is always with me. Come to it. Follow my videos. It's not that I want you to follow my videos, but I think following my videos is the best. Do you know why? Because I don't find anybody talking like this in the YouTube. People dare not talk about themselves. It takes a long journey to learn many, many things. And the universe provided you with that journey in this lifetime of yours. Make full use of it. Discover I am. Follow my videos. God bless you in your journey of life.